You're crazy.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another exciting episode of the Viall Files Going Deeper edition. I'm your host, Nick, joined by the full household of Allie, Amanda, Derek, and Genevieve. How's everyone doing? What's cracking? What's new? What's going on?
What's up, sluts?
That seems
Why'd you look at me when you said that?
Some new office lingo. Am I supposed to not allow that?
I've been saying stuff like that a long time. It's just you've been here the last couple times I've said it.
Gotcha. And then it's just just a check-in. Is everyone fine with that? I don't...
Blink twice if you need help.
Yeah.
I feel like everyone's fine with it.
Okay.
Allie says, I think everyone's fine with it. Right, guys?
I think it's professional context. It's all good.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, sluts,
She's only saying it because it's true.
Whoa.
Is it appropriate?
I feel like I'm being set up.
Yeah.
Is it appropriate? No. Is it appropriate? No. Okay. Anyway.
You said it very similarly.
What?
You sounded like the button.
You did a great job impersonating yourself.
Yeah.
Did I?
Yeah.
Good for me.
I am riding the grandparent high still. If you are lucky enough to have grandparents who are alive, give them a ring. You will feel better.
Phyllis Pocket called me the other day. And so I called her back and we had a nice little chat.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
What questions does Phyllis ask you?
Just how am I doing? She's getting older. She's getting up there. Her memory is, not what it was. So we try to keep it simple.
Yeah. I feel like my grandparents will ask follow-up questions on the most random thing. They just care about every detail of my life in a way that is so kind. But you'll just be talking, be like, oh yeah, I went out for dinner with friends, and they're like, how many friends? Did you get a reservation? They'll just really hone in on something specific and go Barbara Walters on me, and I'm not mad about it.
See, that's nice because it's better than I feel like oftentimes I have to pull. I'm like, so it's Thursday, ladies' dinner tonight. Yeah, you excited for ladies' dinner? Yeah. Tomorrow's Friday. Any Friday plans? Yeah. Yeah. Anything this weekend? No. Okay.
For the listeners, Allie's doing some object work right now. She's miming pulling a rope.
There you go. All right. I told Phyllis some big news that I had, and so she was excited about that.
That you're a slut?
She already knew that.
Oh, okay, great.
Yeah.
That's right. You live together.
We did.
Yeah.
And
She knew.
she knew. She would be up late knitting, and I'd be, coming home at 2 a.m, and I would download my nights with Phyllis.
Love.
That's so
That's
cute.
really cute.
Yeah.
Did she judge you for it?
No, I mean, I wasn't crude. I didn't get into the details of, my escapades, but I would talk to her about escapades.
I was joking.
I talked to her about dates and stuff, and
Cute.
and girls I like.
Aw.
Phyllis.
We have an amazing episode for you today. Gina Kirschenheiter is with us. Gina from Real Housewives of Orange County, which I recently started watching, and color me a fan. Yeah, I'm into it. I enjoyed it.
It's silly.
I started watching Real Housewives of New Jersey. For whatever reason, I guess I wasn't as into this much as into those storylines of the most recent season. This past one, with maybe it's just season to season and storyline to storyline, but I've been enjoying this season of Real Housewives of Orange County, and we get into a lot of it with Gina. She, she's very gracious with her answers. Talk some trash. We get to behind the scenes.
She didn't flinch with any question because I was looking through the footage. I was like, she did not once give a.
She wasn't like, "Ooh,
I wish I
should
could say,
yeah.
but whatever. It was direct answers every single
she really
time.
went for it. Yeah. So a lot of fun with Gina. Got into some pop culture topics. What didn't we get into with Gina? What else do we have? What's else going on in the world that we haven't covered with Gina?
So something that we kind of touched on a little bit in pop, I believe this was when you were out of town, Nick, but Genevieve and I talked about Olivia Rodrigo's new song, Vampire.
Love.
There was a lot of speculation before it was released about who it was about.
And we were wrong. We'll go on record.
Who did you think
wrong.
it was about?
We and many others, I will say, we thought we might have been about Taylor Swift. And
You thought it was
because
about
of their
Taylor
feud.
Swift?
Yeah.
Yes.
Are they in a feud?
Well, feud might be a strong word.
A divide.
And yes.
But the lyrics were like other girls.
But we
Tell
didn't
Me
have the
About
lyrics yet.
You
We
and-
just knew the title. This was
We knew nothing.
before it was released.
we knew nothing.
We were speculating.
Yeah, because listening to the lyrics, clearly about a boy.
Yeah. So now people are saying it's about
Zach
Bia. Yes. And we've been talking about this a little bit in the office, so I feel like we should bring it to the show as well. The idea of, especially in LA and cities like LA, professional friends. It feels like when we were doing research on Zach Bia.
Yeah.
There was literally a Google prompt that said, how does Zach Bia know so many famous people?
Yeah.
He might be a professional friend.
And they're always like these unique looking people, I'll say.
Oh.
Oof.
What?
That's a nice way to put it.
It's like when someone shows you their newborn, you're like,
That's interesting.
That's a baby.
That's
Looks
so
wise.
unique.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, LA is a weird place. I really like the song. She's talking about a guy, but to me, she's more talking about a certain type of person in LA, which is very much, I like the title. They're bloodsuckers. They use people, and they are professional friends. Because LA is a lonely place. There's a lot of people who move from their communities to LA, and they have a little bit of success, or maybe they don't. Maybe they're just kind of out here on a whim. And then maybe if they pop a little bit in LA, you can be naive. You don't really know how things work. You're kind of looking for companionship. And there are these kind of groups of people that are essentially shameless. They're just really good at shamelessly introducing themselves and kind of being extroverted and friendly and helpful. They're very helpful. And also they're connectors. They claim to know a lot of people, and they'll name drop like no one's business. And LA is the type of town that it's hard to know who you should trust. And for whatever reason, it's easier to trust someone who claims to know someone that you either know or that you at least respect, like from a name recognition standpoint. And these people are just shamelessly throwing people's names around. They're excellent liars. More so than liars, they're just excellent at stretching the truth. Like, for example, everyone they know, they'll claim that, oh, I'm best friends with Hank. They're my best friend. Oh, Jill, best friends. And then you'll meet Hank and Jill, and they'll be like, yeah, I met Zach once. They're like, oh, he says you're their best friends. But they never really get caught. And by the time they get caught, it's after they've kind of used.
It's like a Ponzi scheme.
No, truly. They all have these side hustles. Like Zach Bia is a quote unquote a DJ, which is okay, sure, or a lot of these people are self-proclaimed managers, or they're producers. Like anyone can say they're a producer. Like help a friend make an Instagram reel, man, you're a producer. You produced that video with them, Or you're a manager because you know someone who knows someone who you got someone a brand deal at some point, you got them paid, or maybe you made an introduction to them to go to a party, and next thing you know, they're a manager. But they're just so shameless, and they are good at preying on the naive and often young and impressionable, and they're always willing to pick you up at the airport. And a lot of them are nice at, they'll do you favors and they'll give you companionship. And you don't realize you're just being used, and they're just social climbers. And then you look at someone like Zach Bia, and you look at his face and you go, how?
I'm looking at him right now.
Nothing about him physically screams, I should be able to date some of the most successful and powerful and attractive women in Hollywood.
I feel like there were people like that at college, though, too.
Oh, you're talking about the Northwestern goggles.
Well, where I'm like, wait, but you're not actually like this group of people. Like, you're just somehow a part of them. Like, you don't share their passion or their talent for this one thing, but somehow you were enmeshed within it. Like how people are able to just kind of
And part of it is at the fault of, I guess, the celebrity, you could say, because, there's a level of narcissism in every celebrity. And these people know how to be a friend. So they're very complimentary. They're yes men. They're professional assistants that you don't have to pay for. And then it becomes very kind of muddled and messy between, are they my friend or are they an assistant? And there's this weird power dynamic, but they're also really good at making the celebrity kind of feel bad. There's a lot of negging and a lot of putting people, it's all very manipulative and things like that. So hearing the lyrics of the song Vampire not only describe fuckboys, but to me, they describe a type of person in LA that if you're moving to LA and you're trying to make it in this town, watch out for these people because they'll mask themselves as friends, and they're just social climbers who are and they're fans or things like that, but they're also just really good at being around celebrities. And that's their gift, is they act as if. They're good at acting like they belong. They don't act like fans. They act like friends. And sometimes the people who they're pretending to be friends with, mistaking that as they know how to, and again, they also claim to be best friends with so-and-so. It's like, oh, well, I guess you're safe to be around, but they're just using you and social climbing and using your name as currency. And then at some point, they're going to tell someone else that they're best friends with you after you've been like, I hung out with them a couple times.
In group settings.
But okay. Or maybe you hung out with them one-on-one once and they picked you up at the airport once and then they did something weird and you're like, maybe I should stay away from them. But they go around like dropping your name left and right.
This show is making me think charisma is like not a quality to look for in people, because I think there's so many people who are charismatic and because they have so much charisma, there's other parts of self-growth that they're able to avoid by being like charming enough to always find a new person instead of having to like sit with the consequences of breaking a relationship, or like how Dr. Maya talks all about like butterflies being a bad thing and like, Logan Uri, fuck the spark. Like it's really making me feel like the more like charming and personable someone is, the more likely it is
What are you hiding?
Yeah, like or just that
truly.
they get away. It's like the kind of like, like pretty privilege. It's like another dimension of that, of like,
yeah, like personality privilege.
Truly.
Pump up privilege.
There just clearly are people who are better at being charismatic and likable and creating chemistry with anyone. And so when you say to yourself, oh, I feel a chemistry with them, it could just be their own unique skill set. It is definitely something to watch out for. And it gives you a false sense of security. And, and I'm guessing like with Olivia Rodrigo, which was 19 when she was dating the Zach Bia guy, and he's probably like, oh, I'm best friends with Drake and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, how could someone who's best friends with Drake be bad for me?
He'd already dated Madison Beer.
Madison Beer?
It's not like he came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He already dated a celebrity.
Yeah.
I feel for her. She just come off the sour drama, the love triangle drama. She just moved to LA. I'm sure this boy is being really, really, really nice to her because he wants in. Madison's left him. She wrote a few songs about him. He needs to clear up his image by dating this, kind of young girl that people really love. Like they really took her side during the love triangle. I don't blame her at all. I feel so bad for her, but I love the song.
Would you rather have someone release your text messages or write a negative love song about you?
Negative love song.
Me too.
Same.
Because at least there's some romance in it rather than being like, I didn't mean it like that.
I honestly, actually, I was like, maybe that was a stupid thing that I didn't mean, but I was going to be like, I think, would I rather have no song written about me or a negative love song written about me? Probably a negative love song.
Def.
I'd go no song.
What?
Well, you would rather be the subject of Vampire?
Maybe not that song. Maybe like Back
Dear
to
Genevieve.
December.
That's not negative.
Oh, yeah.
You're
The
right.
one song that Taylor Swift wrote about an ex that is like, it's not negative, but it is low key like, I didn't like you enough. The nicest thing Taylor's ever said about an ex was, I didn't really like you.
That's not true. You just haven't listened to the album Lover enough. Hello? Anything she wrote about Joe. Those are all pro.
Okay.
Pro Joe.
But that was during the relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Hits Different is a pretty positive-ish.
That's true.
Yeah, it's like how much
It's like how much she misses
affected.
this
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
But then there's You're Losing Me.
Yeah.
Tough to date a
Rumors.
songwriter, I gotta say.
Yes.
Brutal.
Yeah.
Brutal.
Ali has experience with this.
We were listening to his music on Spotify yesterday.
Did he write
Genevieve, Derek,
about
and
you?
I. We don't know. The timing of one was a little suspicious,
It's
I
catchy.
think he did.
Do
but
you think he did? Why can't we talk about this?
I don't know.
That's
'cause
not even a name.
I don't know if it is actually about me or not.
So you dated a guy.
I went on a few dates
You
with a
went
guy.
on a few dates with
Yes.
a guy who makes music
Yes.
and uploads his own songs
Yeah.
to Spotify.
Yeah.
And you suspect there's a chance that one of those songs might be about your few interactions.
Yes.
Why?
A lot of the drafts were posted like on TikTok, and the drafts started right after I ended things, and like the song slowly became a song, and now it's officially out.
We love it.
Do you find it catchy?
It got stuck in
You
all
like
of our
it's a good
heads.
song.
Wait, how does it go?
We're not
we
gonna
obviously can't
sing it on air.
We can't sing it. We can't sing it.
You probably appreciate it.
Yeah, great exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It lives rent free in my head.
Yeah.
So yes, it's catchy.
Derek's the best because Derek actually keeps tabs on like every
Can I
single
listen
guy.
to it when we're done?
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. we were going through my exes yesterday, and I pulled up one of them, and Derek goes, "Why do they all make content?" And I was like, "I don't know.
You live in LA.
I don't know."
Yeah, it was literally like, you're like, oh, this person. And you weren't showing like photos on IG. You were showing TikToks that they made. And I was like, why are they just all creating stuff?
Oops.
One of them made a rap song without any words.
What?
That was troublesome
What?
to watch.
Is that a rap?
unsettled
thing?
me.
Or is it just
yeah,
like
is that just a beat?
Ask him.
It was a fun day. A little
I know.
rabbit hole.
I'm not realizing it because like my ex, like the ex, is a musician, and I just had the thought where I was like, damn, at any point in time.
You never got one?
No, well, he wrote one. He wrote one love song, but it was kind of about how he like doesn't. It was cute, but it was also like how he's like cynical. Like the words arsenic and cyanide are in the love song about me. But like,
Well, he has an expansive vocabulary.
yeah, it's I
But
kind
it
of
is about you.
yeah, but then it's like it's the chorus is really sweet, but like it's like the arsenic cyanide is how
But
he's
she'll
like,
kill
I'm a
you.
grump, but then you
Did
make
she
me
say-
happy.
Well, those are poisonous
I
things.
know.
Arsenic
You say,
and
"I'm gonna kill
cyanide."
you?
Well, I just was wondering if he was referring to her as poison.
No, although I don't know.
Really?
From an ego standpoint,
You're like, no, not
the
spot.
power.
Yeah.
Well, I really fucked up because okay. Do you guys, to me, I know from like the inner emotional side of this, I'm like, this is fine. It's kosher. My ex is still my favorite musician. Like, I think he's the best musician I've ever heard.
That's weird.
But Taylor Swift exists.
Yeah. Like objectively, it's just not true.
It is true. It is true. Nobody writes lyrics that are better than him. Truly. Like, I've just never met someone who writes more
That's
like
just not-
interesting and dynamic songs.
But folklore exists.
Yeah.
I'm drunk in the back of
my
the car,
and I
I'm
cried
crying
like a baby coming
Zach
home
Bryan.
from the bar.
I mean, like, you know, Dolly Parton,
He is, I
Almost-
truly believe.
John Mayer.
I almost said Tom Hanks. I don't know. I was like, yes, and
Why hasn't
Tom
he made
Hanks.
it? What's his?
I don't think he wants to make it. He doesn't really write very like commercially viable
fuck
songs.
does
He doesn't
Who is this
want
man?
to
I already
make
hate
it.
him.
He doesn't want to make it.
I
Fame
think he
would
just has
ruin
kind of
me.
a complicated relationship. I think it's really weird because it's like his greatest like outlet and like form of self-expression is also what he's expected to monetize. And it's just like a funky thing to navigate. And so he's like, I don't know. I think my perspective was he was just really big on the craft and like, of course, like wanted the opportunity to do more, but he, complicated to do things you like to do. The idea, is that fucked up? Am I not allowed to have my ex be my favorite musician?
No, you're allowed. It's just, I think we all agree. Correct me if I'm wrong.
The household is united against me.
That it lacks credibility. We don't believe you.
What does Nick think
We
about
believe that you believe it, but like objectively speaking, he just can't be.
He literally can be. I will actually go to bat for this man who I would never in 1,000 million
Do you
years.
consider yourself to be musically like intelligent? Like I'm not. Like I don't know a lot about music.
Well, for me, I think it's like the lyrics. So I feel like from a writing standpoint, I really appreciate good writing. So I don't think from.
Yeah. You think there's no better songwriter in the world than him?
I think he is my favorite songwriter. Like
Who happened to write a song about you?
Yeah, but the songs about his dad are much better. That's where the juice is. But
Well, maybe that's why, because you know him and you know what it's about, and like you feel more connected to his lyrics, which again don't like make him that good. You get the most emotional response from it, I guess, maybe because you are connected to it.
I feel like one day I'm gonna print out my ex's song lyrics.
But you think,
And I'm gonna give them to
and then
people in the office.
and I'm gonna be blown away.
I think it stands alone as like a beautiful poem. I truly think he is like a brilliant, brilliant, brilliant writer.
Okay.
And he's incredibly like quick and dynamic and funny.
What's he do for work?
I don't know right now. It's been a while since I've like chatted with him.
Okay.
Not sure what
Does
he's
your
up to.
current boyfriend know that your ex-boyfriend is your favorite songwriter?
Yes, because I said that without thinking while we were hanging out. But we were talking about exes, to be fair.
Oh, yeah.
So it was like we were on the ex subject.
It's like me being like, we were on the subject, and I just happened to mention that my favorite sexual experience.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Kim Kardashian's a hero.
So speaking of, okay, yes, she is. She is. The Skims creator has saved someone's life with her.
She saved many
Bodysuits.
lives. I mean, she saved
This
many
is
lives,
true.
but this is a
Mm.
literal
But in the
life.
literal sense,
Yes.
it has happened. This woman was shot. She is okay, thank goodness.
Where was she shot?
Because under her dress, I don't know.
In her body.
It said she got like a lacerated bladder or a punctured something with the bladder. She got shot 4 times.
Oh my
So-
God.
4 times?
Yeah, it was,
By whom?
it was like she was caught in crossfire outside a food truck.
Oh
That's
my
what an article
God.
said.
In
So-
Kansas City.
In Kansas City.
Kansas
All right,
City
anyways.
can get rough.
So she says, the night I got shot, I was wearing a Skims shaping bodysuit. She's 22, by the way. It was so tight on me that it literally kept me from bleeding out. I recommend it. I'm definitely going to buy some more. She's also sad. She says she's sad because this is the first night she was wearing it. So now it's covered in blood, obviously.
Oh no.
So, yeah, it keeps it tight.
Yeah.
It does.
But,
I've
but
warned them.
Kim reposted her video and just said, wow.
She should send her some free
Maybe she
yeah,
is. Maybe
little
she
package.
is. We don't
I would
know.
imagine that Kim might hook it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, those bodysuits suck you in. I can speak from personal experience. They look like they're made for babies, and they somehow
And
somehow
they're-
get in it.
High quality fabric, it seems.
Yeah.
Yes.
Keeps
Does
you
it-
in.
Yeah.
Does it like after a while? Does it get uncomfy?
Not
You've never
really.
worn a Skim?
I don't think so.
I've never worn. I'm a Skim virgin.
I wore it to the Taylor Swift concert underneath my blazer. It really kept me
Oh.
in.
Yeah, is it comfortable?
Seemed fine to me. I
Yeah,
mean,
it seems to like it.
Yeah, I like it too.
my body and a shit ton of soft blanc. We were happy.
I mean, that is crazy. I feel like that's like when you read like an Amazon review. That's like, it's like for a table and someone's like, I wrote my most successful novel on this table, like 5 stars. And you're like, okay, I guess it's good. Like that's not expected, but that is awesome. And I hope Kim K sends a package.
Kept
Yeah.
her in there. Sucked
Mhm.
her in.
4 times.
That's insane.
Yeah,
Outside of a food truck?
bro.
Wait, Genevieve, I want to talk about this article that you found about Matt Damon
I do too.
negotiating with his wife in couples therapy.
Yes, yes. So on the topic of, therapy and couples counseling and setting boundaries between partners, Matt Damon is doing it right, I think. So he has been in couples therapy with his wife, and something that they spoke about there was him taking a step back from acting, to focus on his family. Fair enough. He's done a lot of jobs. But the one stipulation he did set in couples therapy is that if Christopher Nolan were to reach out with a role, he would be allowed to take that. And so that is what they agreed upon. And obviously that came to fruition. He's in the new Oppenheimer movie, and good for him. Good for him.
Yeah. It's more like back to the boundaries versus like rules. Right? That's more of an expectation. It's not really a boundary, right? Right?
I don't know if it's technically an expectation either, though.
Well, the expectation is why it's not a boundary. It's not-
or is it just reaching a level of understanding? Or is it just a rule?
Well, yeah. Well, rule is like an expectation. Hey, I expect you.
A rule could also be a boundary.
A rule could also be fucked up. Like I feel like
Sure, but again,
it's important to have
in
the
terms of
rules
expectation.
category.
Hey, back to the Jonah Hill thing. His expectation is that she wouldn't wear bathing suits or surf with dudes and shit like that, or not surf at all and quit modeling. That was his expectation. He framed it as a boundary. Well, Matt Damon's wife, though, rule, expectation is that that's his work. It's his job. It's his career. Hey, she was literally asking him to take a step back from work, and that was an expectation or a rule. I mean, that's just whatever you want to call it, but it's not a boundary, I guess is what I'm saying.
Totally.
It's a request. Like a boundary would be, again, like you can't set a boundary for someone else. You can set an expectation for someone else or a rule for someone else, and you set a boundary for yourself. Anyway, but healthy communication, and that's the thing. That's the nuance between, here's a married couple. The parallels, and it's interesting, the parallels between these stories, there's a lot of similarities. A couple in a relationship, one's married, one's not. There's that. But in both instances, one person in the relationship had some demands, rules, or expectations around their job, the other person's job, with a request to do less of that job. And again, so much comes into like how it's communicated and how it's received. And it sounds like, Matt was receptive to it, and they had some, good communication and dialogue around this, and it was healthy and open-minded. But that's the thing. So much goes into the nuance of these conversations, more than anything. But it's kind of a cool story, What if all of a sudden it came out, a message is between Matt Damon and his wife, and what if she was saying how like, you're just an egotistical actor and all you do is spend time, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden that conversation changes between what they agreed upon, So like a lot comes into how it's communicated rather than what is actually being asked. We jump to a conclusion. It's like, how could you stop one from doing their job? Well, and this is a perfect example. A lot of people have kind of workaholic mindsets, you know, and they're constantly working. And oftentimes their spouse might say, hey, you're not home, babe. You know, like you're not spending enough time with us and the kids. And people have a right to ask their partners to maybe pull back from their careers and their jobs and their personal ambitions and things like that. It comes down to how it's communicated. What else we got?
Gigi Hadid was arrested, but she was released. She was released. It says Gigi Hadid released after being arrested for marijuana in the Cayman Islands. Her rep came forward and said Gigi was traveling with marijuana purchased legally in New York City with a medical license. It has also been legal for medical use in Grand Cayman since 2017. Her record remains clear, and she enjoyed the rest of her time on the island. Gigi then posted some photos of herself on her vacation on Instagram and captioned it, "All's well that ends well," and a video with the song Cruel Summer playing.
Loved the post.
That's pretty funny.
Loved the post.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess who cares? She made a mistake. So, and why she got arrested? Because it wasn't.
Maybe they didn't know it was like, because it seems there's a lot of emphasis on the word medical. I'm wondering if they didn't know it was for medical reasons, or if they thought she was traveling with it recreationally. I know oftentimes when you're traveling with stuff like that, that's where the issue comes in. But yeah, shortly after Hadid and her pal arrived via private plane, custom officials searched their luggage and allegedly found a small amount of marijuana.
And they arrested her for it?
2 days later, Hadid and her pal were formally charged during a court appearance where they pleaded guilty and were both fined $1,000, which for Gigi Hadid, is that just like $10? I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah. It didn't ruin her day.
No, it does not. It did not.
It's the fact that it was a story, probably more than anything, was annoying.
Yeah. Do you think people, like celebrities, care about people knowing whether or not they smoke weed? Like, do you think, because I feel like I'm not very tapped into like societally, like I have a very specific sector.
Societally, it's still not thought of as the same as, say, alcohol. I think it's unclear to the consumer of weed at times of where everyone stands on the topic. You know, we live in our American culture not only is okay with alcohol, but promotes the consumption of alcohol. In fact, we have a society where that if you don't drink alcohol, you're actually considered weird.
I feel like TikTok is changing that, though.
Sure, but
I feel like there's like this new resurgent wave.
I mean, alcohol is becoming the new cigarettes for sure, but I'm just saying, historically speaking, it's still in many parts of our country. It's not only acceptable, but it's praised and encouraged as a part of a social kind of acceptance.
I think that point is so accurate about alcohol becoming the new cigarettes, and I think mushrooms are becoming the new weed.
Yeah, but it's still also judged in some circles. So if you're asking who's comfortable with it, it's just like, you know, if you talk about smoking weed, you're running the risk of, you know, offending someone or having them judge you for, you know, having kind of a 1980s mindset on weed and being like they're a drug user, you know, type of thing.
The devil's lettuce.
Yeah. Meanwhile, they're just like saying that while like drunk off their ass.
While their liver is like,
please stop. So pop off, Gigi. All right. Well, that about does it for our little round table discussion. Before we get to Gina, don't forget we have another episode of Better Date Than Never live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, where they hit you with the topic probably sometime today on our social media. So look out for that. But either way, it's going to be fun, wacky, and wild. And we're excited to have you guys join us. So look out for that. We also have Viall Files Plus available for y'all for all your updates from texting office hours, sweating the wedding, and just your general Ask Nick questions. There's like 11 Ask Nick update specials on Viall Files Plus for all those of you who love our updates that we drop on Viall Files once a month. There's so many updates waiting for you. Just go to viallfiles.com and sign up. It's free to sign up. Check it out. A lot of fun. Don't forget to send in those questions at asknick@theviallfiles.com for all things Ask Nick. Texting office hours. We have a wild texting office hours today. You'll enjoy that. And I promise you, you're going to enjoy Gina. Well, let's stop talking about her and let's just get to her. Drizzly, the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep right when you need it. That's right, Drizzly. What a great invention. I don't know why it hasn't been around longer than it has been, but tell you what, it's here now, and it will save your day when it comes to not having to go to the store just to buy some beer, wine, or spirits. And so whether you're throwing a party and you run out of booze, or it's just a lazy day with some inclement weather, and you think to yourself, babe, how about a nice glass of wine? And you open up the cabinet and you realize you don't have any. Or maybe you do, and you're like, this is all the same crap we've been drinking, and I want something new and refreshing. Well, Drizzly has a smorgasbord of options, especially when it comes to wine and beer. I know all you wine and beer people out there, you love a good variety. You love trying different stuff. There's so many microbrews or just kind of regional wines and things like that. Drizzly has it all, and it's super convenient with delivery in under 60 minutes. Natalie and I use Drizzly often to send gifts. There's a lot of parties we don't want to go to. Don't want to tell anyone, but we will send a nice little hey, sorry we couldn't make it to your amazing party. Oh, here's some Drizzly. No, it's we send a bottle of wine. Drizzly, the most convenient way to buy beer, wine, and spirits with delivery to your doorstep right when you need it. Drizzly is the go-to app for drink delivery. Just go to drizzly.com or download the Drizzly app today. DRIZLY.com, drizzly.com. Brooklyn, the eighth wonder of the world. Natalie and I were up at the lake house, and we're like, we need some Brooklinen. We're not sleeping as comfortably as we want to. Part of the problem is we're not sleeping on Brooklyn sheets. That was a true sentence from Natalie Joy. It's great stuff. And when you love what you're sleeping on, you will not want to sleep on anything else. And that's Brooklinen. High quality material with low prices. 100,000 five-star reviews. You don't have to take our word for it. It was founded by the dynamic duo of Rich and Vicky.
Husband and wife.
Well, we love a husband and wife partnership. Brooklinen is the perfect way to build your own indoor oasis to escape the heat. The options are endless, so do yourself a favor or simplify your shopping by bundling bed, bath, and both. Also, they have great loungewear. They have great robes. Everything they make is high quality. It feels comfortable in your body. It's incredibly soft. For all you hot sleepers out there, helps you stay cool. They have an all-seasons duvet comforter that's it's perfect. Again, literally for all seasons. So you don't sleep hot. You're not too cold. You're snuggling. You're comfortable. It's great. Check out Brooklinen. If you haven't yet, you're missing out. Trust me. So shop in-store or online at brooklinen.com to give yourself the cooling sleep you deserve this summer. Use promo code VIALL for $20 off your online purchase of $100 or more plus free shipping on brooklinen.com. That's BROOKLINEN.com. Use promo code VIALL for $20 off plus free shipping. Gina, welcome. How you doing?
Hi, Nick. I'm fabulous. Actually.
Really? Well,
yeah.
I'd like to start all our interviews by asking the question, how is your heart?
Oh.
So how is your heart? And I was looking forward to asking you that after watching episodes 5 and 6 of this season.
Yes.
And I was concerned about your heart.
My heart is incredibly full.
That's great.
And I think super healthy. And I think that's
I love that.
That's good. I hope I stay there.
I hope so too.
Yeah.
Has that been a work in progress?
I mean, I think for anybody who has gone through a divorce, honestly, just breakups in general, right? But more so when there's more intense reasons why people split up and then kids involved. Kiki's like, I'm out. This is too intense for me.
She's like, boring.
Exactly. But I do think that, it takes a long time. And I think that mostly I've been really good. My relationship with Travis is literally always been a game changer. He's such an amazing human. I just love life with him. But navigating through, 2 divorces, blending our kids, our families is a lot. And me healing from some of the stuff from the past is obviously you've seen stuff comes up, right?
Sure.
So it's a journey. I don't know if it ever really goes away, but the more that things come up and you acknowledge them, the easier I think that and believe it gets to being able to look at those things, have them come up, and then not having such an intense emotional reaction to those things.
Do you really think it never goes away?
Well, I think that it was a huge thing that happened to me in my life, but I do think there's always going to be things that come up that remind me of that time or take me back. But I think as you go along on your journey, the way you react to it becomes less severe, less intense, and you look at things differently.
Yeah. What's the hardest part, or what from your past relationship or divorce, what's the thing or things that come up the most when you say, I don't think that'll ever go away, or things come up? What's the thing that is more triggering for you, or the thing that, as much as you might try, it just finds its way back into kind of your emotional real estate, so to speak, that you're working on letting that affect you less and less?
I think that the lesson that I've learned this year is that you can't really predict the things that are going to necessarily trigger you or bring you back to those moments. And you have to just go through it and allow yourself to have those moments. Like, I don't think that triggers are necessarily bad things. I think that triggers are, normal responses to something very emotional or traumatic that you went through that's bringing you back there, that gives you an opportunity to look at something that is hard to look at so that you get more comfortable with what you went through, and then you can release it.
Sure.
And I think the more times that you are triggered and you have to process and look at those things, the less and less emotional you will get each time that it happens. So I'm looking, and I feel like, the show, for instance, when I went through it, that was very emotional for me. Now I have to watch it again, but I don't feel triggered by that.
It's harder to film rather than watch for you?
It's not easy to do either, really, but but I do think, yes, I think it's harder for me to film because I really do just put it all out there. I say everything I have to say during the season, and I feel all the feels and feelings. And then honestly, when I watch it, it's always not as bad as I think it's going to be in my head.
I just started watching.
What do you think?
I'm enjoying it. Yeah. I mean, Bravo is putting out so much content. It is, I'll be honest, hard to keep up with all the delicious content that they put out.
I know.
I am new to the OC
Bravo
Housewives.
sphere.
Not so much Bravo as much. I'm new-ish to Bravo.
Okay.
But I'm new to OC.
Well, welcome.
It's been fun.
We're happy to have you.
I am happy to be had. I've been enjoying it. Yeah.
It is a good time, and it's a good cast. This is a good time to come in, I would say, 100%.
Why do you say that?
Because it's better now.
How so?
The cast makes sense. It feels less like a cast and more like these are just actually my peers and friends.
Interesting. So who previously on the cast would you describe as like dead weight, like happy to let them go?
Well, I think a lot of the women who didn't make it, like Emily and I started, and everybody since who came on after us has not stayed. So like, and I feel bad saying dead weight. I think it's more like you didn't, you didn't connect, and it didn't like fit, right? So like the Bronwyn, I actually thought Brahma was a great housewife until and I feel bad saying this because her health is her priority and she needed to get sober, and she's doing great now. And I think that's great. But she was like messy and fun I think she was
we love
great.
Messy and fun.
And then when she got sober, it was like just too much for her and she needed to focus on her health. Noella made no sense at all. I was like, I don't even ever know what you're talking about. I don't know why you're here. I don't know. Just don't know so many things. Elizabeth Vargas is a sweet, sweet woman, but she again made no sense.
Do they know that they made no sense? Or would they agree with you? Are they happy to be off?
You'd have to ask them, but I don't think anybody is like happy to get fired.
Okay.
Especially like when the people who come on who are so like, I am the next queen. A lot of these women come on and that's like their person. They're like, I'm going to be the fan favorite and I'm going to be this and that, because that's why they're doing it, like for that. And that is never successful.
Let's pivot for a second, just because I know you're such a fan of pop culture. You have a podcast about pop culture. What's the name of it?
Orange Country.
Ooh, Orange Country.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk a little pop culture.
Sure.
And I'm expecting some hot takes, Gina.
Oh my gosh.
Because you are a host.
I am.
Of your own pop culture.
We
show.
mostly talk about, it's not exclusively pop culture though, I'll be honest. It's mostly just like relationship, like mental stuff. Like
you're going to thrive in this environment.
We're a melting pot.
Speaking of divorces.
Multiple divorces.
Who else is getting divorced? We got Sofia
Vergara, and Ariana Grande is separated from her husband.
Let's focus
Dalton.
on Sofia and Joe
Ariana.
for a second.
Okay.
Sophia and Joe. Because did Ariana announce it, or was she just seen without a ring?
Well, she was seen at the Wimbledon
right?
without the ring.
Yeah. And it says, we're told their differences, this is Ariana and Dalton, their lives became vastly different when COVID restrictions lifted. Their marriage kind of worked.
A minute ago.
Yeah, but they said their marriage couldn't work in a post-COVID world. When LA realtor
it's like when
was
we
taken
weren't
aback.
stuck at home and forced to stay inside with each other. We no longer had things in common.
So we weren't forced to be together.
The space and capacity to pursue individual interests.
Yeah. Like when we had the ability to do whatever the fuck we wanted, the last thing we wanted to do was spend time with each other.
We were like, oh, wait. Actually, you're the last person on my list.
Yuck.
Yeah.
You. No, Sophia and Joe. I think that surprised many.
Yeah.
Did that surprise you, Gina?
Yeah.
What's your take? Who do you blame?
I don't know if I think maybe just they're just
Unreconcilable differences.
too hot. I think they're
Both too hot?
just too hot. I don't know.
The
That
only-
is a good looking couple.
The only thing I really know about Sophia,
She's spicy, I'm sure.
well, I feel like this is okay. Did I tell this story or not? I don't know.
About the photo?
Yeah,
Yeah.
That's
you talked
only what
about
I
it.
think about
Yeah.
with Sofia Vergara
What?
now.
I
It's
have to hear
it was Sarah and Wells' wedding.
Okay.
Sarah Hyland,
Okay.
Wells Adams, friends of ours.
Okay.
Obviously, Sarah co-star with Sophia on Modern Family,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm sure you may know this. And this sounds, I guess, it just sounds silly to. And probably most people listening, but if you happen to go to a wedding where there are people who might have some sort of public profile, as you
Mhm.
may know this, Gina, that there are often opportunities that present themselves to maybe have your wedding be talked about with the likes of, your E! News or People or Vanity Fair or GQ. I don't know. There's a
Mhm.
bunch of different opportunities out there. And part of securing these opportunities, there might be some agreement with said publication about exclusivity, first looks of the wedding,
Mhm.
things like that, right? And so part of that, if you are going to these weddings, I've been to a handful, the couple or someone in the wedding will graciously ask the guest, hey, listen, can you refrain from posting for a set period of time, maybe till like Tuesday or something, and everyone's just happy to accommodate. Some people might forget, like for example, Sarah and Wells' wedding, I think Natalie posted something, hey, we're going up to wine country. And Sarah reached out to Natalie. It's like, hey, I'm so sorry. Because you feel weird asking. It's like, hey, sorry.
Oh, it's so uncomfortable.
Can you not post because we have
Yeah.
this thing? But listen, it's really cool to have your wedding be featured. I don't even know if there's money exchange, but if nothing else, it's kind of a cool, right?
Oh,
you get married, it's like, oh my God, we were
100%.
People Magazine talked about us, our wedding.
I mean, nobody can argue with that. Everybody's putting their wedding pictures up on
Right?
their Instagrams and social
So-
medias as if it is People Magazine. If you told anybody, oh, we're going to put your
Yeah.
wedding photo on the cover of People Magazine, I mean, who wouldn't shit their pants?
So fun, right?
That is so fun.
We're at Sarah and Wells' wedding. And they're like, don't post. Okay, whatever, And then the next morning after the wedding, it was like Sofia Vergara was just not giving a fuck. She was posting the wedding cake. She was posting the classic car they had. All the first looks were going through Sofia
my
Vergara's
God.
Instagram.
I
and
love
not
that.
She broke the story.
She broke the story, and I don't know why or if she didn't care or she didn't know better, but that was my only impression of Sofia Vergara being like, you know what, I don't care that you have this deal. I check out my Instagram for the latest news on Sarah and
You know what?
Wells'
Honestly,
wedding.
I'm impressed that Sofia Vergara runs her own Instagram account.
She does.
So kudos
well,
to
at least
her.
she did that day.
You know?
Yeah, that's
at
for
least
sure.
she did that
Yeah.
day. Yeah, she was getting
So
spilling all
she,
the tea.
I don't know if that ruffled any feathers, but there was a bit
Like
of
that Teresa
There were some
thing.
next day conversations. What Teresa
I'm
thing?
sure. Well, remember when who leaked the invitation to Teresa's wedding? Oh, Ramona.
Oh.
Ramona got invited from New York, got invited to
Mhm.
Teresa's wedding, and then posted on Instagram, oh,
The
I'm so happy,
invitation?
the invitation that said the date, the time, the place. Yes, and I
Do you think
think
that was an
she
honest
actually ended
mistake?
up-
That's
yeah.
an-
Oh,
yeah.
totally. I
Yeah.
don't think. Yeah, Ramona. I feel like that's very Ramona, classic Ramona. But it was. I thought it was hysterical.
Yeah,
I
she
was like,
doxed
this
a
shit
wedding.
is funny. Yes,
Ooh.
and I think they ended up changing the venue, but I'm not positive. That's
a
just
bummer.
funny though. That's just good.
Yeah, honest
comedy.
mistake. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Do you think Sophia knew she wasn't or not? Didn't care?
How
And-
much did they ask? Like, how much did they mention? Please don't. Like,
Well,
maybe
I will
she
say
didn't
that
know.
it was I feel like most of the people there kind of know this.
It's like a general
You just-
understanding.
I just remember going to this wedding and I asked Wells, I'm like, hey, I just want to make sure. I'm guessing you don't want us to. And he's like, oh yeah, please don't. They definitely weren't ramming it down people's throats and trying to be obnoxious about it.
Do you
So-
think though that there's a difference between our industry that is everybody knows that's a thing, right? And it's a lot of partnerships and a lot of stuff like that. But with Sofia Vergara and that level of their job is different, right? They're actresses and actors, and
Yeah.
do you think they're as aware of that?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Because Us Weekly or People Magazine might I think Sarah and Wells was I mean, it's already out. It was Vanity Fair. They were covered by. Sophia should have known better.
yeah.
There might not have been a influencer type of deal or whatever, but
Yeah.
there was a level of even more-
Discretion. You should have.
exclusivity that
Yeah.
I just don't think. I feel like Sofia should have known better that she wasn't supposed to offer the first looks of the wedding.
Like any
on her
bride would
Instagram.
want to have control of their first look, period. Whether you're going into People magazine or whatever, or just in general, like nobody wants like your third cousin that's at your wedding to post something on Instagram, like a side profile that you don't like. You would definitely always want to be the first
We even
person,
did that for your engagement. I remember being at your house. We did like a surprise engagement party, and one of the Bachelor guys was like filming the little like hors d'oeuvres, and he was like, I probably shouldn't post this. I was like, don't you dare. I was like, not until she walks into that door right there. I was like, because Natalie's gonna see it.
Oh my God.
But like you think about those things.
Yeah, totally. I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard for me sometimes with the show because, you know, we have parties and things. And for my friends, like they're just real parties. You know, they're like events that, and then my friends don't really understand. They don't know.
They get
They don't
excited,
understand that world. It's like they get excited and of course they want to post. And it is kind of uncomfortable because I do sometimes have to, like, I've had to ask one time, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I know you're like supporting me and you love me, but like that's content doesn't really, it doesn't really belong to me. And I also like want to be aware of my job and like want to keep all the storylines
Not piss anyone off.
secret and not so it's it's a thing you have to deal with.
Maybe
It's kinda
Joe was
weird.
just like tired of Sofia always like getting dibs on like leaking other exciting news for the
Maybe,
couple. And he's like,
yeah.
no, what about me? Like,
yeah.
Well, I feel like it also shows that Sofia is probably in most scenarios operating under the mindset that like she's the
The star.
bottleneck of privacy and discretion. Like, because she's
as long
probably
as
the
she's
one.
okay with it, then it's fine.
Well, I'm sure she's often surrounded by people who are less like kind of concerned or have to be less careful about that. So she just has this mindset of like, oh, if I think it's fine, it's fine.
I mean, she
Oh,
literally is
yeah.
a main character. Her job, like she's
Right.
she's a true star. She is
Yeah.
A-list. Yeah, she's
Oh,
A-list.
totally.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally.
It wasn't
yeah.
at one point she was the highest paid actress on TV.
She's
Yeah.
A+ list.
Yeah. And we have a main character epidemic in the world, so it might be tough for an actual main character to tone that down.
Yeah, especially like you could see how in a marriage, like if it's a reoccurring thing of like she's not meaning any malintent, but she just
How long were they married for?
7 years.
Not
The
bad for
7-year
Hollywood.
What is
itch.
Joe doing?
Do we
lately?
is Hollywood? Is it a matter of not if but when divorce?
I don't know. Tom Hanks.
I know.
And
That's
Rita
what I always
Wilson.
think
Tom
about.
and Hanks.
They love each other.
Also, it was Kurt Russell and
But they're not married. Goldie Hawn.
yeah, but that's
But they're like me and Travis.
they're life
We're like
partners.
lifers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you had a somewhat of a wedding. You
For my
posted.
kid.
Yeah, that was really cute.
That was literally my kids. We were at Travis's parents' house and my kids were like, don't come outside. We're preparing something, a surprise. Like it was actually so cute. They did this whole like impromptu wedding for us. And they like got Travis's mom's like, I don't know, some doily thing from upstairs. And they made a whole like walkway aisle. And my son, Nicholas, walked me down the aisle to drab. And then they sang Fancy Like to at the end of it. It was really cute. Presley, Travis's daughter, like officiated it. But it was all just like they did it that day.
So it was
goofing
like an
around. And then people
unofficial
thought
wedding?
people thought I really got married. So
Well,
it
kinda
was like,
did.
yeah.
I feel like unofficial wedding should, or maybe might be a new thing where you have the ceremony, but there's no legality around it. It's just
Right.
more.
I actually feel like that's the way it should always be. It's just easier. Like, why do we have to sign a contract? It
Right?
seems a little sterile to
Bit
me.
outdated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yuck.
Yeah, different days, like the
Yeah.
emotional, symbolic celebration, and then the like
Right.
paperwork
Courthouse.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
The paperwork is just such a buzzkill. Love
Who
buzzkill.
on your current cast do you think would be most likely to spoil the first look of someone else's wedding by not considering who on your castmate is the most
that person?
Sofia Vergara?
Probably Shannon. She would do it by like a real accident, like a butt dial. Like I swear.
Oh, so it's more clumsiness.
Yes, that's what
Not-
I think.
not-
Yes.
Not selfishness.
Intentionally.
Who's the most selfish?
Well, I also believe she is the most selfish, but I don't think she's
Clumsy and
but
selfish.
she's
How
not
fun.
technologically savvy. So,
Okay.
I'm dealing with different. That's why I don't know if any of them would be that quick to the share. Tamra probably, if it could get personal gain from it, it would be Tamra.
She's the most.
She would be the one to
Calculating?
get the pictures from someone else's wedding that she wasn't even at and be able to post them. Like she is like a stealthy, like
Who do you trust the most? Who do you trust the least?
I trust Emily the most. I trust Shannon the least, 100%.
Hmm.
I trust Emily like hardcore.
Okay.
She is one of my best friends.
And what don't you trust about Emily or Shannon?
She's just never been someone who I could trust or like has been particularly kind to me. It just is what it is.
So speaking of me watching the new season, can we talk about Jennifer for a moment?
Sure.
I want to make sure I understand the full story.
Mm-hmm.
Can you walk me through the Jennifer drama? Maybe if you can fill in the holes. She was in a relationship. She had some kids with someone.
5 kids.
And she cheated on him?
Mm-hmm. Cheated on her husband with Ryan, who you see on the show.
The douchebag who seems to be obsessed with married women.
Your words, not mine. Yes.
Yeah, no, I'm fine with saying it. And how old is Jennifer?
I think she's about 10 years older than me. So I'm 39.
So
Or maybe she's like 8. I think she's like 47.
Mid to late
48.
40s?
Yeah, she's late 40s.
yeah, I'm team you here, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I am too.
And listen, like people can make mistakes. And I also think people have a right to fall out of love.
100%.
People have a right, and sometimes, unfortunately, falling out of love can happen when you have children
Totally.
and you have had wedding vows and shit like that. But cheating on your husband, only to then move on. Now, did she cheat? She cheated on with the douchebag
Yeah.
guy?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Right.
And then he's since rossed her, so to speak. Is that the?
It seems
They were on
to
a break
me
and then he had sex with.
100%. Yes,
Okay.
100%. But I think there's other stuff in there. It seems to me that since Jen has gotten on this show, he is very committed.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah. So is Jen like a mid-40s pick-me?
Like needs the attention.
Well,
sort of.
listen, like I do think age matters. Now, listen, I think people mature at all different aspects of their life, and you can be a young, very mature person. You can be an older, immature person.
100%.
But I find it really concerning for Jennifer that in her mid-40s, she is making decisions that are truly hurting other people.
And herself.
Yeah. And that's not excusing people in their early to mid-20s who might do something as similar. But yeah, I mean, I do give those people more grace,
Yeah.
If you're in your
because
mid-20s,
young
you're 6 or 7 years removed from like counting on your parents for like life lessons.
That's what your 20s are for.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
But to be in your mid-40s and not only cheat on your husband, but do it with someone who clearly is the type of guy who thrives off of preying on people who are starving for validation and attention.
She's insecure.
I am concerned for your girl, Jennifer.
Yeah, I very much like Jennifer, so I just want to be clear about that. Like, she's a
I'm not even trying to be a dick.
No, but it is what it is, and I've
is
said this
what it is.
before.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think that Jen doesn't really know who she is. And I think that she doesn't have a foundation of who she is. And I think that she is very insecure. And I think she was a small town girl who found Will and was enamored by him. And he moved her to across the country to Orange County. And it's shiny and great. And he kind of, maybe gave her this life and she just acclimated to his life. And it's like, this is your life now. This is who you are. But I don't think Jen ever did a much soul searching. This is all speculation. And then it's like, she's unhappy in this marriage, but she's not like confident enough to exit her way out. What are her options? What is she going to do? She's probably scared about it. She meets this guy. He's giving her attention. I mean, it's very cliche. It is what it is. You know what I mean? She's bored at home. He's not giving her the attention she wants. She goes to the gym and, it's so shocking. The douchebag at the gym gives you the attention that you want. And then you destroy your, family life for that. And you think it's this love. And then he plays with your mind and your heart, but you excuse it away.
I don't even take it as like destroying her family life because the reason I say that is because, like, again, people have the right to fall in love.
Yeah, but there's a certain way that you can exit out.
I think
doesn't impact.
I think it was terrible what she did, and that's my point. I think what she destroyed was her character, her credibility, her children's willingness to trust her. Right? It's like, how could you? Because you could sit your kids down and be like, "Hey, listen, I'm sorry, and I know it's really hard, but mom's just not in love with dad anymore, and things like these happen. Let's all get therapy together and handle this the right way." But like, mom's, doesn't love your dad, as opposed to like the betrayal. We've covered Vanderpump ad nauseum on this show,
as everyone else
and the
has.
reality is, like, I don't think Tom. There's a lot of opinions on Tom Sandoval, but at the end of the day, I think Tom Sandoval just doesn't think cheating's that big of a deal. I think it's more of a value system.
His integrity standards are just lower. That's who he is.
Yeah, but I don't think I don't think Tom's the only one. I think
No.
we saw something on Tinder. What, did you send that to us, Amanda?
Yeah.
What is that?
The 2/3 of people on Tinder
2/3
are
of people
are
on
in
Tinder are in
relationships.
relationships.
Now, this is a social media article, so it's, not being vetted by the Pew Research Center, but it is
Let's call it 10% or 15%. That's a wild number.
Yeah, that is.
To know that
Yeah.
if it's 10%, 1 out of 10 people you might match with on Tinder are probably married or in a relationship.
Yeah, I mean that sounds about right though, because I do feel like everybody's stripping everybody.
Do you
lately. I
feel
really do.
like, because watching it back on the show, you seem to be the only one, and I know it sounds like, you're personally affected because obviously you were on the receiving end of infidelity,
Mhm.
but why are you the only one in your cast who seems to be willing to kind of stand their ground on more of a character kind of issue and say, like, hey, Jennifer, we love you, but like, I don't agree with what you did.
I don't know.
And you seem to be comfortable with your actions. And while I'm not trying to come down on you and call you a bad person, like, I'm really uncomfortable with how you seem to be
Justifying.
yeah,
That's what it
justifying
was
or
to
just
me.
or normalizing this
Normalize-
behavior.
yes.
And it seems like your castmates are kind of, they'll talk behind her back and be like, oh, she's like delusional and things like that. But why are you the only one who's willing to say, I think what you did is not okay?
I'm very confident in who I am and my character, and I'm not perfect. Obviously, I make mistakes, so I'm not pretending to be better
Yeah,
than
everyone who makes mistakes.
But
yeah.
I know who I am and who I am not, and so I never have a problem saying that. And I don't know, maybe some of them have personal experience or a personal relationship with infidelity themselves,
They don't
and
wanna be
so they don't
hypocrites.
want to be hypocrites, right? And maybe they don't have any experience with this, and they feel like they can't attest to it. It was crazy to me. I literally was like, I felt like I was going crazy. I was like, why am I the only one who is like, wait a tick? This is insane. Like, why are we going to sit around and listen to this? Like, oh, poor is me, woe is me. Like, you didn't go on vacation enough.
Yeah.
He didn't take you to dinner enough. So that's okay now that you slept with him. And also what really bugs me was the fact that it's like, I hate when people do this. It's like, I didn't have an affair. Like, I had an affair. I'm going to lay on the sword. I'm the worst person ever. But then she always had to follow it up with, but there was no physical contact. Don't quantify like the level of the crime. It's like, don't say I did the crime, but I didn't do it as bad as other people.
Exactly.
So it's not as bad. It's
No,
like, look at this. Look at this.
I did the crime.
Yes.
I'm disgusted with my behavior. I don't want to repeat this behavior. Here's the work I'm going to do
Right.
to figure out why I did said behavior so that I can make sure that I don't do it in the future. That's the only
Right.
conversation you should have with yourself and with your peers.
100%. And if that was what was coming out of Jen, I would have had no problem with it. But I felt like that was not what was coming out of her. So it didn't feel like she was truly owning it.
I couldn't agree with you more.
And then that was bothering me. Like, look, Jen did not cheat on me. And my ex did. And I have a great relationship with my ex. But I didn't always. And it took him time because he had to look at that and he had to truly accept responsibility for that and then work on himself. And he did. And I'm all about that. I'm all about how you recover. I'm all about personal growth and learning. This is life, right? We all go through it. It's linear and then we fuck up and then we keep going. So like, to me, the fact that he was able to look at that, pack his pride aside, truly take responsibility for it and work on himself for us to be able to still be a unit and a
Co-parent,
family,
yeah.
I think is so respectable.
That's great.
And I'm like, thank you for getting me to a place where I'm able to respect you again. And now we can all co-parent and be a family. And I think that's admirable, and I think that Jen deserves that too. And I think she will get there, like even like Raquel's a young girl.
Do you think
like
she's doing
Vanderpump,
the work she
fucked
needs
up.
to do?
She could get better. I don't know. I hope so. I don't know. Seems like she's on private jets a lot and
With what's his name?
with Ryan. Yeah. I don't
It's the
think
backwards
he's
hat and the
great for
gym
her.
shorts for me. He made me never want to wear a
Wasn't the-
backwards hat again.
The splatter paint pants. It wasn't.
I mean,
No.
Natalie, my fiance, loves me. I've never been a hat guy. She loves me in a hat. But watching that scene between Jen and him, and he was wearing that backwards hat on the couch, I was
Yeah.
like, he's older than me, but like, and I don't look as old as he looks, but he made me never want to wear a backwards hat again. For like,
I
you know what? If
know.
I don't want to look like he looks, like a guy who's just like hanging on to dear life to his like bottle popping days.
I love Long Island so much. It's where I'm from, and I love everything about it. But like, he reminds me of so many guys from Long Island. Like,
what does she see in him?
Validation.
I don't know. He just validates her.
He is really you would get it. I think
I'm sure he's charming.
I think your read on her, I think, is fair. And I think if you met him, you would instantly understand why she stays with him, because he is that guy and he presents really well and he's super likable and he's super nice.
Well, if he's a guy who
everything you want to hear,
targets married women, he unfortunately there are a lot of people in marriages, men and women, who feel forgotten and lost and, get the life kind of gets in the way of giving each other the attention you used to give each other. And so this motherfucker knows that, and he's out there just like complimenting a bunch of like married people. And
he makes her feel good, right?
Yeah.
And I think it's also probably very scary for her, the thought of truly being on her own, which I think is why she was in a loveless marriage for years and didn't do anything about it. Because I think she's truly scared to it isn't easy to like have to look at her situation. Like, she's married, she has no idea what's going on financially in her life or her home. She has 5 kids. She's in a separate bedroom from this man. They're basically, estranged, I guess, at that point. And like, to leave, what is she even gonna do? Like, it's just a scary thought. It doesn't come natural to a lot of women to be like, well, I'm just gonna get a lawyer. Like, most women are like, I don't even know how to get a lawyer. Like, I don't know what, like, you need this paperwork, and then the paperwork's going back and forth. So hard to read. It's so hard to it's a lot,
Yeah, but
so,
she has friends. She's got you guys. She's got the show. Can't you just ask?
Maybe now she'll get. I don't know. I think if I was going to mom her, the best thing for Jen would be for Jen to be on her own, learn to stand on her own 2 feet and navigate through this by herself, get to know herself a little bit better, work on herself more, be okay with being alone, and then move on. But that's obviously great advice from somebody who's on the other side of it and can look back clearly. She's in the middle of it. So,
well, we wish her the best.
Yeah. I'm curious for you being on the other side of it. I feel like a big topic of conversation after recent episodes was this balance of how much do you leave past relationships in the past versus how much do you talk to your current partner and give them context for some of the stuff that you're going through, some of the stuff that triggers you. And so how do you and Travis navigate that in terms of like your own discerning what to share with him, what to work through with him, and what stuff you kind of want to work through as an individual?
Well, I think, first of all, maybe one of the biggest factors of whether you should talk about the past or the present is if your past stays with you forever. And my past does. Like, my ex is a part of my life forever. So not talking about my ex is not really an option. Also, like, I truly believe that was like one of the reasons why I loved Travis, because we both went through really shitty divorces and we could lean on each other and we could talk about everything. I think it's case by case, person to person. And I think like Travis is not insecure and he is not threatened and he is always about making things better. And that's where his mindset is. So that is a good platform and a good, person to go to because of who he is. If you're dating somebody who is sensitive to that or a little bit more jealous because that's one of their personal issues or whatever, you probably don't want to touch that, right? Or you have to go to therapy. I would maybe have a therapist in the room when you're talking about some of that stuff. But for me in my relationship, I was just talking to Trav about this because I think this is actually very interesting. Since day one, we've always dumped on each other. He came into my life at a time that was like after one of the most horrible life experiences, events of my life that I went through with my ex. So not talking about that just really wasn't an option. Plus my whole life is on TV. So I think it would be really weird if I was talking to like America about all of these things and not my partner. We're just like, I think your partner is the person who really truly should be there for you through thick and thin, through everything, through all of your emotional ups and downs, and be able to help you reestablish balance. And your relationship should be the balance.
Do you guys at least give each other the space to say, I'm here for you, babe, but like, could I just not hear about this right now?
Yeah.
Without getting defensive? Because I'm assuming at some point it might just be like, hey, I do want to be the person you talk to, but like, oh my God, can we not talk about them right now?
Yeah, I think you learn how to, like, when is a good time and when not. Like, if he's already super stressed or dealing with something else, then I probably don't want to like add on to that. But I think it depends, right? They say that people, that relationships are supposed to be 50-50, but they never are, right? And they say, you have to balance each other out. So like if it's a day,
well, the Nevi are simultaneously, but they should be over the
you
course.
Should equal
like
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, right. So like if he's at a day where he's at 30%, I'm gonna be like, let's talk about Matt. This is a great time, you know. But honestly, also I am not very. I'm saying that because that sounds good. But I'm also really not good at that. Like I'm very in the moment emotional. So honestly, there are definitely days that he's at 30 and I'm like, I'm just going to dump right on you again.
Yeah.
But like Travis is such a fucking incredible human that he can carry it, you know? And I think that was the first time that Heather said that though, that I actually was mindful of that. Like I never even thought about it until she said it. And I was like, wait a minute, maybe I shouldn't be, you know? And I did think about it for a minute. That's why I wasn't mad at her for that. She was there. She was being a friend to me in the car. She was giving me advice that she truly believed. So in the car, I was like, okay, you're here for me in this moment. That's okay. Maybe that is something I have to look at. But that also wasn't like the top priority thing on the list.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it
there.
made sense when she delivered that advice.
Yeah.
It's just like, you know, but everyone's relationship is different. And, you know.
The next night I got pissed at her because
I honestly didn't understand why you got so mad.
Because bringing it up at the table like that so casually after she didn't check on me at all, like that night, the day after, and then to revisit that to me felt like, oh, wait a minute. This is something now that you're trying to make a thing that you've been talking. It went from, oh, you're my friend who gave me advice to me feeling like you were just talking shit about my relationship with these other women. And now you've all come up with this thing that I still have feelings for my ex. And I got extremely defensive about that because it's not about that.
That makes sense.
It just pissed me off.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes I just get pissed.
I hear you. I want to go back to the Housewives, but I do want to ask you, have you seen the Miranda Lambert drama?
Oh, that with the selfie?
Yes.
Yes.
What are your thoughts? Do you either of you want to update our audience? I think most people know about it because I find it to be wild.
So I also updated it this morning because the fan themselves has shared their experience. But Miranda Lambert stopped a show to call out two fans taking a selfie. And Miranda said, quote, "These girls are worried about their selfie and not listening to the song. It's pissing me off a little bit. Sorry, I don't like it at all. We're here to hear some country music tonight. I'm singing some country damn music."
And she stopped mid-song.
Yeah.
It wasn't like in between songs. She was 20 seconds in to a new song and just did the whole like, stop. Okay, how old are these women?
The fan said, "It felt like I was back at school with a teacher scolding me for doing something wrong and telling me to sit down in my place. I feel like she was determined to make us look like we were young, immature, and vain, but we were just grown women in our 30s to 60s trying to take a picture."
So it wasn't even like a couple like 21-year-olds?
No, and the fan noted that it took 30 seconds at the most to snap a photo with her friends, and they took the picture quickly and were going to sit back down before Miranda caught them.
Who gives a shit if it took 12 fucking minutes? Maybe they wanted to take a selfie to
They
like
paid
memorialize
to be there.
you know, the carousel of photos that you post on Instagram where there's going to be a photo of Miranda like singing her song, and then there's going to be a selfie of you and the girls in the seats having a good time.
Love
you're
it.
Miranda. They are fucking marketing your goddamn concert, and they want to be like, had so much fun at the concert last night. Like Miranda popped off, and like, what the fuck, Miranda?
Yeah.
That is, I totally think that's
Is anyone
horrible
siding with
behavior.
Miranda?
I'm not siding with her. I guess the only way to kind of like in her head justify it was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like if she feels like as a performer, like she's trying so hard to like go out there and she's on a rigorous tour schedule and she wants to give people like a good show, and she wants, you know, she wants this feeling of like connection with fans, and it's like the difference between being in the studio and actually getting to see people and have them hear her music live.
I mean, she does always have the option though then to pre-screen who she wants to come, make significantly less amounts of money, and then do it for pure entertainment value.
Right.
I read something recently about Billy Joel.
Wait, please don't say anything bad about Billy because he's my king.
No, it's wonderful.
Okay.
You'll enjoy
All
that.
right.
It's to your point
He's
that
my
apparently,
people's people.
and I haven't
He
verified
really
this.
is.
I've
I
seen,
just went to his concert with Stevie Nicks.
I saw this-
took so many selfies.
I saw this. I saw this on the internet. So maybe it's a rumor, maybe it's true. But the
Obviously
rumor is that Billy Joel is kind of fed up with what he presumes is a bunch of rich people who can afford
I know what you're
first
gonna
row
say.
tickets, or like the first two rows. So he doesn't sell them.
Mm-hmm.
To your point,
I
he
love
takes
this.
less money. He doesn't sell the first couple rows of tickets. and he has his people, whoever they are, go up into the nosebleeds and find the diehard fans and brings them down to the first 2 rows so they can enjoy Billy Joel.
That's what like Taylor Swift does.
right?
She has her mom go through the stadium and pick people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like you're going to make less money. You know, you're not going to be able to sell those tickets for a couple grand or whatever, you know? And so he chooses to have the fans that he wants in the front row. And they're also probably taking selfies still, being like, oh my God, Billy Joel.
Yeah, they're like, holy shit,
you know? But like, calm the fuck down, Miranda.
Seriously, she got to settle down a little bit. That's aggressive. And those people paid to have an experience, and whatever they want that experience to be should really be up to them. She's going to do her job regardless. And as long as she's not like taking a cell phone to the face, which seems to be an interesting trend lately, you know, where everybody's just chucking.
What's the trend?
There's been several performers lately who have been getting beat, but she's not the only one. There was also...
Well, Harry got like kicked in the nuts, didn't he?
And there was someone
Bebe
else.
Rexha with the phone. Someone threw the ashes at Pink. Kelsey Ballerini had the friendship bracelet in her eye. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting... people are now just
Calm
starting
down,
to do it. Yeah, that I disagree with.
I mean, if you're just taking a selfie,
right,
Miranda, you could be getting balls thrown at your face,
right?
you know? Like,
seriously,
yeah.
I don't
know.
know.
Also, I'm seeing something about BB and text messages with a shitty boyfriend. What's this all about?
Oh yeah,
the alleged text from her boyfriend commenting on her weight. The message says, I never said you weren't beautiful. I never said I didn't love you. In fact, I said how beautiful you are and how much I loved you. But I always said I would be honest with you, and your face was changing, so I told you it was. That was the conversation we were having, and you asked. Because I care. Would you rather I lied to you? You gained 35 pounds. Obviously, you gained weight, and your face changes. Should I pretend it didn't happen and that's okay? Come on, I gained 3 pounds, and you called me chubs and fat. Doesn't mean you don't love me.
Interesting. What do we think about this? I mean, he could have definitely left out the you gained 35 pounds.
Yeah, Jesus. He's on the defensive
like,
now,
why are we
though.
being so specific? Couple questions. How do we feel about this trending pattern of people releasing text messages of like mid-relationship conversations that, you know, certainly lack context? Not that there's ever like, but listen, I've been in several relationships. I'm currently in a relationship where my partner says to me, promise me you will never let me look like this, or promise me you will be honest with me if I change X, Y, and Z. And I'm always like, yeah, sure, babe. Right.
Don't let
yeah,
me get fat.
Yeah.
Like, be honest. I do that to Travis too.
Not
I
even
shamed
necessarily the word fat, but that does happen in relationships.
Yeah.
Her boyfriend is claiming that conversation happened. What do we think about having conversations with your partner? And where do you draw the line between just giving mean feedback and trying to hold each other accountable?
Are they still together? They're still together, though.
Are they? They're still
right?
together, and she's
or
just
they
like
broke up.
Let me see
over
if they're still
this.
together.
The Jonah Hill thing. I think that's not good. I just think.
Well, he sounds like a dick. That's for sure.
I think he's wrong, but I don't agree with her releasing those text messages, because I agree with a lot of what you said about that, like, that it's misuse, and it really didn't seem like, it seems like he is wrong and he needs to make an adjustment there, but I don't think he was intentionally trying to be abusive. And I think there really is that, putting that out, like, that's almost abusive, because now Jonah Hill is taking a hit.
I mean, there's, internet trolling.
Without being able to have his own narrative. And now people who are clicking and now the clickbait and all that is totally highlighting him in a way. Now everybody reading it has a preconceived, viewpoint because
messy,
of what she put out there. Just seems unfair. And it seems like, what personal gain does she get from that? Except now I know who she is and I didn't before, so it seems a little.
I do think it's an important conversation to be had about like therapy talk and how we've talked a lot about
the conversation it created around therapy talk.
She could have just had that discussion without completely out of left field, like putting somebody, and you don't know, like, now maybe he did do work and he did work on himself and he did move on and he is in a new relationship. Maybe he's with a woman with children and how that affects everybody else. It just seems like we're at this place where we're so quick and okay with releasing anything without any consideration of anybody else, their feelings,
and
or
kind
whatever.
of forgetting maybe the role we played or things that we have said in relationships or things that we might have had to apologize as well. Yeah, but Amanda, Ellie, what do you guys think about Bebe releasing this and her thoughts? Because again, that's a very common conversation between couples.
I think it's the release of the text more than anything. I did look it up. It says they've been going strong since 2020, so they're still together. I mean, I don't think it should be released. I think that should have stayed private. I do think it's
what did the text say?
I don't love that at the end of the text, the one that I read, come on, I gained 3 pounds and you called me chubs and fat. It seems like
those were their actual texts to each other.
Yeah.
Oh, that was the conversation. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I mean,
why did she release it? She must have been pissed off that day.
Yeah. But I don't know. I'm like, it just doesn't seem like it's probably the healthiest of if you're gaining 3 pounds and suddenly you're calling each other chubby and fat.
Yeah.
I don't love that.
They both probably have to work on the way they speak to each other.
Yeah.
I think we've lost the art of understanding that when it comes to relationships, they're hard and messy, and we sometimes have to apologize to our partners, and we say things that we don't mean, and we sometimes say things that can be hurtful, and that's not okay.
No,
but
and
it does
honestly,
happen.
most of the time that we do that, we're saying them to be hurtful. You know what I mean? In the moment, and then you feel, and then you regret it, and you feel bad, and you have to apologize and work on that and move forward, and hope that what you've said isn't damaging enough to create too much of a problem there.
Speaking of things that were hurtful, who was it in the group that were lying to Heather? They were clear. I love how Heather approached it. She's like, "Were you being rude about me?" I loved her line of questioning because it wasn't about like, "Were you being rude?" They were clearly being fucking rude. And they were like, "Well, we weren't like talking no, were you being rude?" They were clearly being fucking rude.
Right. It was like so obvious.
And you called them out for them. I do want to ask you though, where do you think you draw the line between standing up for your friends and starting drama?
Well, I think that I get what you're saying. Like, I know that going into that conversation with Heather when we were shoveling this shit, that this could potentially cause drama, but to me, it feels worth it when I really feel like my friend has her eyes closed to something, isn't seeing this accurately, and I feel like she's kind of being like made a fool of. Oh,
they were totally mocking her, and the fact that they pretended otherwise like made me kind of.
But I didn't see all that, you know what I mean? So I don't know definitively if they were or weren't, but based on the conversation from the previous night, I felt confident enough that Heather was completely closing her eyes on this. And I'm like, I didn't get it. And I'm like, you're going to look dumb and like, you're going to why are you so mad at Taylor, a woman who you barely know? Why do you care what she thinks about your career? But you're not mad at all at Tamra, who's supposed to be your friend. If that was like Emily and Taylor, I'll tell you right now, I wouldn't give a fuck about what Taylor said about my career, but I would be pissed at Emily.
Yeah, no, I hear you.
And that was my mindset.
How often when you guys watch this shit back, are you guys calling up, be like, motherfucker? Like, or do you like save it for the reunions or like how?
Oh yeah, it's hard to navigate through that because you are really supposed to save a lot. Yes, for that, but I'll tell you,
which we appreciate because we love a messy reunion.
Yeah, totally. Like, who doesn't? Yeah, that's what it's for. Yeah. It's like Savage City in there.
But are you guys like fighting via text and calling each other up and being like, what the fuck?
Yeah, she texted me right after the first episode aired and she was like, I'm disappointed in you and your comments that you made. And I was like, that does, but I was like,
episode 5.
Right. I was like, well, just wait. If you're pissed now, we're pretty much not friends anymore. But then I think that I said, do you want to talk about it or whatever? And then I didn't really hear from her. And then more episodes came out and she reached back out to me. And I think she felt really bad, and she actually like apologized. And I was like, Heather, look, we have to just agree that I care about her. I actually really do care about Heather and I respect her. And I was like, you care about me. I care about you. We care about our friendship. We have to try as hard as we can to not let it affect us and to be in the space that we're in now. And it's really hard to do, but I'm like, also, if something else comes up that it bothers you, let's just be open to the idea that like we can talk about it, but like we can still be friends. Like we don't have to have it end our friendship. Like, look, the bottom line is this show is really what happens in friendships, right? Where you have a group of girls, sometimes you get pissed off at one of your friends and then you go to your other friend and you talk shit about that friend. It's all in the spirit, though, of venting, trying to move past things and let it go, usually, Depends on how much you like that person or don't, right? But that's real life. But the difference is then those people don't sit down 3 months later and then see all that venting.
Yeah.
That's tough, but the job is to be real. And the reality is if I'm in this group and then Heather or Tamra or somebody pisses me off, I'm going to go to my friend Emily and I'm probably going to talk shit about them. And like, if I don't do that, that's not me being real and authentic. And then like, there's no show, you know?
Well, we appreciate your authenticity.
I'm just out here for the people.
Well, it's time for texting office hours, Gina. You down to help? I think we do have some friend drama.
Yes,
Yeah,
I thought this would be
so
perfect to
Ooh.
get
Thought we'd
Gina's
be
opinion on.
apropos
Love
to
it.
help solve some friend drama. You down for giving some
Totally down.
unprofessional dating advice or friendship
100%.
advice? Amazing. Let's get into
Completely
it.
unlicensed.
Yeah, yeah.
Unsolicited
Back room.
advice. Yes, there
Like
we go.
if we fuck up your life, it's not our
Right,
fault. It's if you
yes.
listened. Ugh.
All allegedly.
All right, let's bring them up. Need a break from reality? Feeling down? Well, cheer up, Buttercup, because Paramount Plus has your great reality escape. Escape into new seasons of the biggest competition shows out there like Survivor, Big Brother, and the Challenge World Championship with the boldest personalities from the family Stallone to RuPaul's Drag Race All-Stars and Queen of the Universe. And the wildest drama like Are You the One? Plus hundreds of previous seasons all streaming at your fingertips. See, reality ain't so bad. Embrace your reality with Paramount Plus. Stream now. Rocket money. Hey, do you like wasting money? Do you like throwing away money? Do you like burning $20 bills? I'm guessing no. Well, unfortunately, you all probably are. Every single one of you listening to this has an app that you've been paying for that you no longer use. You probably didn't know what it is. It's probably buried in your phone. But how do you find out how you're being charged? Well, you do it with Rocket Money. Rocket Money is a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. Do you know how much your subscriptions really cost you? Well, most Americans think they spend around $80 a month on subscriptions, but the actual total is closer to $200. If you don't know how much you're spending exactly every month, then you need Rocket Money. Over 3 million people have used Rocket Money, saving the average person up to $720 a year. I myself have saved over $1,000 by using Rocket Money. Imagine how much you can save. Over 80% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about, and chances are you are one of them. Rocket Money will quickly and easily find your subscriptions for you, and for any you don't want to pay for anymore, just hit cancel, and Rocket Money will cancel it for you. It's that easy. Rocket Money also helps you manage all your finances in one place and automatically categorizes your expenses so you can easily track your budget in real time and also get alerted if anything looks off. People, stop throwing away your money. Cancel unwanted subscriptions and manage your expenses the easy way by going to rocketmoney.com/VIALL. That's rocketmoney.com/VIALL. rocketmoney.com/VIALL. How's it going?
Hi, my name is Jen. I'm 25 and I'm fighting with my long-term best friend. I'm trying to see if she's being protective or manipulative.
Okay, what is the thing that you are trying to figure out whether she's being protective or manipulative over? Like, what's going on in your life that she is inserting her opinion on?
Basically everything. Where I live, who I'm talking to, what I'm doing with my daughter,
Okay.
what I'm doing for
Oh, your
work.
mom.
Okay. All right. And what makes you think she's being protective and what makes you think she's being manipulative?
I think she's being protective because she tells me that she really cares about me and she wants the best for me. I think that she's being manipulative because the way that she's doing it is super negative. Everything about my life decisions, she just talks about them negatively and kind of controlling.
Okay. What is her biggest critique?
Well, probably with dating, just like who I'm talking to. And then where I live, because I'm so far from my family and I have a daughter. So she thinks that it just isn't the best decision for us.
And why do you live where you live?
I moved out here for school and then
Okay.
I got pregnant. So now I kind of have to stay here, but I also really like where I live.
Okay. So you like where you live. Okay.
Love it.
Great. So that's really
And
all.
you're finishing your education.
Yeah, I just graduated actually last year, December.
Okay.
Congratulations.
But at the end of the day,
Thanks.
you like where you live. That's what matters. Well, that settles that.
Yeah.
You can live wherever the fuck you want, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she misses you, and I'm sure. And are you building? Do you think you're building a healthy support system in your community?
That's what I'm working on. And so the last time that we talked, I was starting to tell her about all that, how I was going to a mom group, how I was going to the gym. And I just felt like I was like trying to convince her when it was the truth. And she just still didn't like really believe me.
Now, what about your dating life is she is the most critical about?
Well, she doesn't like my daughter's dad. She also just doesn't like the people
What are
that
you
I
gonna do
talk
about
to in
that now?
general.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, fuck.
Yeah.
Okay,
That's
I'll
the
change
main-
that.
Thanks.
Exactly. And she still talks about him as if we are together. Like she tells me all the time how did I not see the red flags with him? And I'm like, that's so pointless now. We're not together. Like, why bring this up?
Do you say that to her?
Yes. Well, in a nice way.
Well, what do you mean in a nice way?
I can be confrontational, but very nice. Like, I just say, well, honestly, you know, I don't know how I didn't see the red flags, but I'm trying to do better now. And I'm doing the best I can.
I think you need to be more direct.
I know, but I'm scared.
Yeah, well.
What are you scared of? You're a single mom who finished her education and is raising a baby on her own. I mean, you should be proud of yourself, really.
But
I mean,
also,
you're doing
like,
great.
Think about, like, listen to what you're saying, right? You're like, I'm trying my best and blah, blah, blah. So if I'm someone giving advice, right? And I hear I'm trying my best or whatever, and I think I'm right and I think you're wrong. That's not me hearing, I'm not interested in your feedback. I'm happy with my decisions. Also, this isn't helpful. All you're really doing is hurting my feelings. You're not saying any of that. You're just saying, I'm doing my best. And she's thinking, well, I'm the friend who can be open and honest with you. I've known you forever. So I'm just going to keep letting you know. So, like, on this particular issue, there's nothing you can fucking do. You had the kid. You're not dating him. So the fact that she keeps bringing it up and throwing your past mistakes in your face, because that's what she's doing. And maybe she doesn't even see it. So, like, sometimes you got to be honest with your friends and you got to let them know how they're actually making you feel. Because right now there's a disconnect between you're not communicating with her how her words are actually making you feel. You don't want to hurt her feelings. So you're just like kind of being nice about it. It's like, well, I'm doing my best and blah, blah, blah. You're not saying, hey, babe, listen, to be honest, like, what are you trying to gain from critiquing my past choices? First of all, at the end of the day, what I got out of it was a beautiful baby, and I like couldn't be happier with my kid. So, like, he might suck, but like at the end of the day, I'm happy with my choices. Also, I'm not fucking with the guy. So why do you keep critiquing my past decisions? Why do I want to talk to someone who's constantly making me feel bad about myself? Like, I'm open to like constructive feedback about future choices, but what the fuck am I supposed to do about this?
Exactly. That's how I feel. And that's why in these texts, I kind of felt like I said that, but not like in the nicest way possible, because I was nervous to talk to her about all this, but I know that I knew that I wanted to.
So you're asking her for advice. Is that right? Because
so basically I sent her a text, like a screenshot of what my baby's dad like sent me. And she was just like, why does he think he can text you things like this? And then she asked if I was mad at her because I hadn't been like talking to her for after she came and visited. Like, I kind of stopped talking to her for a little bit. And that was just because I was nervous to have a conversation with her.
Does she have kids?
No, she doesn't.
Is she married?
No.
I would say my first advice would be, you're looking to the wrong person for advice about this particular matter because she has no connection with it and she doesn't really know any of it. If I was you, there's like a lot of really good, you know, divorce and people, and like even on Instagram, there's like a lot of like co-parenting moms and stuff like that you can tap into that environment and plug in there. And I feel like you will get so much more out of that, because I think a lot of the problem is like finding the right places to get the right advice. And this clearly is not the right place for that.
Yeah, I mean,
so don't even like share that kind of stuff with her.
I'm kind
of, well, you know, you're not going to get back anything you want. Like, it's not going to be productive.
I'm kind of 50-50 on that, you know? Like, I think it's great to get advice from people who have like real life experience, but I also think as your best friend, she can offer you advice. She just has to like recognize
she's not giving.
She's got to recognize that there are certain things that she doesn't have experience on, right?
Yeah.
So there's a balance.
Yeah. Or you could just say, well, I mean, I don't know. It doesn't seem like she's positive ever about the ex in the situation. She's obviously affected by it. She's listened to you bitch and complain about this man forever, and now you procreated with him, and she obviously hates him. And hates him for you. And her feelings are about that and that situation are always going to spill out on to the advice that she's trying to give you. Because there's no way she can disconnect from that. It seems, you know, if she can, great. But she's obviously putting her own emotion on the advice she's giving. And that's not necessarily helpful for you. You know, I just think you always have to think about like, ultimately, what are you trying to get out of this? Like a positive whatever. And if you're not getting it there, you can tell her, but if you tell her and tell her and tell her, how many times do you tell her before you just got to kind of give it up?
How did she respond to these text messages? Because you kind of mentioned to her that it's just kind of hard to hear her constantly, talk about where you live now versus where she wants you to live and yada, yada. How did she respond to that?
Well, at the end, she never replied to me. The last message I sent, she never responded. And this was like maybe a couple months ago now. And she sent me a Snapchat after that and then unsent it and was like, oops, didn't mean to send that. Haha. And I just didn't reply to that.
So the last message you sent, you write, no, I completely understand you want the best for me and I love you so much and I appreciate that. It's really just that I have so much going on and things I'm working through that any negative comments or things that could be taken that way are just too much for me because I'm doing my best. I was going to bring these things up to you in another time, but just wasn't sure how to because I was nervous. I love you lots and don't want you to think I'm mad at you. A lot of comments are normally sarcastic and joking, but they add up for me. And she just didn't respond to that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I think you've done a decent job. Maybe you just check in because, yeah, listen, this is about, communicating clear expectations. People often confuse like expectations and boundaries. Again, like you can set expectations with other people and then you can set boundaries for yourself, whether you want to deal with people who don't meet your expectations. And yeah, it's like, listen, you're my best friend. I know that you're looking out for me, but every once in a while, it seems like you're putting your needs of missing me over my happiness. Because I love where I live. So when you comment about that, it just hurts my feelings. I'm always going to appreciate you looking out for me when it comes to my love life and dating life. But I do need you to trust that I actually am a capable woman. I'm doing a lot of great things. I went to school. I've been a single mom. That's not easy to do. So it would be nice for once in a while for you, as much as you care about me, to pat me on the back now and then.
And that's an area of your life that you feel confident about, right? So I feel like she should be able to communicate that that's an area that you feel good about and you have other areas that you don't feel good about necessarily. So you don't want her to harp on take away from something that's a positive. It's you're trying to bring everything back up. And maybe also, what do you think about the people that set the tone? I'm so impressed by those people that they tell you what they need out of the conversation before you have it. They say in your relationship, am I looking to vent or am I looking for advice or whatever? Maybe instead of telling her what she's doing wrong after she's giving you this advice, before you start the conversation, you tell her maybe what you're looking for.
Yeah, for expectations.
Have a conversation about her. Maybe she wants to hear more. Maybe she's getting way too involved in your life. Maybe it could be a good reset to just ask her about her issue. If this dynamic isn't working right now and it's upsetting for both of you, I'm sure she would appreciate feeling checked in on, feeling loved. She misses you. And that's not to say that you're not doing that and you have every right to vent to your friend and to have a support system. But if right now that's a little tricky, I think maybe expressing a lot of interest and care about her life and having her doing the talking and you maybe doing more of the supporting and advice giving could be a good flip.
I think that's also an interesting area of our friendship because she's a very private person. I'm probably the only person that she does share that kind of stuff with. But I don't really know how to give her advice on that because I feel like it's such a touchy topic, just anything.
All you can do is ask, how's it going? What's new? If she doesn't want advice, she's not going to receive it.
How long have you known her?
Her junior high.
Oh, junior high.
Yeah,
so you guys are
10 years.
But for this immediate situation, here's what I would do. Stop texting with her about this shit.
It's going nowhere.
I'd call her ass up, FaceTime her, and I'd call her up. Don't call, FaceTime her. And then say, hey, you never responded to my last message. I just figured I'd give you a call. No, and then you say it as a joking matter and just be like, listen, I just wanted to call you because, listen, you're my best fucking friend. I've known you forever. So, let's just talk. And listen, and then, as always, if you've ever listened to this podcast, always lead with a compliment.
Yes.
First of all, I love you. I know you have my best interest in mind. You're the type of friend that I can always go to. You're the type of friend I can always trust to be honest with me. And honestly, I appreciate that so much. However, every once in a while, blah, 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 blah. And just going forward, it would be nice if you would recognize some of the things I am doing well and pat me on the back because it just seems like recently when we talk, you're just full of critiques and criticisms. And honestly, I value your opinion as a friend. And for the persons whose opinion I value, all I'm hearing is negative shit from you. And I know I'm doing a good job in other aspects. I'm not perfect, and I always want your feedback, but I need you to throw a little love my way, So lead by example, be the friend that you want her to be to you. you know? So reach out to her, pay her some compliments, let her know all the great ways in which she is being a good friend and all the ways of a friend that you appreciate.
I love it when you have to like call a friend that you need help and advice from, but you have to spend this time like kissing their ass first. But like
that's a relationship.
You're in this spot now, so I do agree, and I think that also, you know, it's not the worst thing to be like, look, before you're saying she delivers all this negative stuff, like this isn't about you being negative. This is maybe even, I recognize this is about me being super sensitive right now because I'm going through like a transitional phase and I don't really know what I'm doing and I feel a little bit out of control and out of bounds, and like maybe how I'm interpreting it, even maybe I am being hypersensitive, but and I'm not saying you are, I'm just saying sometimes when you just kind of lay on it a little bit, it gets that person to turn a little bit, and then they start to feel a little bit more. It's a manipulation. I'm not saying it's not. But
it's not
like,
even that. I guess I'm just
a
little worried in this particular situation of you saying you're sensitive, because I don't want her to jump on that and be like, yeah, you are.
But that's okay.
No, I know, but
because
I want Jen to show her friend
strength.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
And I want her to kind of like set a new expectation of,
fair.
Hey, this is what I love about you. This is what I need from you.
Yeah.
Because I think right now they have this friendship dynamic that Jen plants this seed of like, well, maybe I'm being like a little sensitive.
Because you are being
and her
a little
friend's
meek.
like, yeah, well, maybe you are, you know, like I think, you know what I'm saying? I think she is jumping at these, like, I lack for a better word, like these weaknesses that you show, and she's not giving you credit for your strength. So I want you to demonstrate more strength with your friend. And I want you to like set an expectation of the type of friendship that you need from her. And you just fucking tell her,
yeah,
this is what I need from you as a friend. And I want you to meet these expectations. I love you so much. Your friendship is so important to me. Sometimes we just like, that's the thing. Just tell someone, hey, I need you. But this is how I need you.
But I need you.
And
if
if you feel needed by someone, you're like, well, how can I meet your needs? And you're like, I'm glad you asked by doing this, you know? And so I think you just need to reset your expectations with your friend. That's all.
And I love you.
Do it over
and
FaceTime.
Respect you enough to ask you that. Yeah.
And you demand answers. When someone doesn't text you back that you think, call their fucking ass. You've known her since junior high. You don't need a permission.
Call her mom.
This is not
call
some
her
guy.
Mom, yes.
This is not some guy you went on 2 dates with. And you don't want to sound pushy. You call her ass up and be like, why don't you fucking respond?
This is important to you. Yeah, this is important to me. This isn't something that I'm just going to let go like a ghosting situation. Yeah. I mean, I see that. Yeah. And then you just have to be ready and prepared for what might be on the other side of it. But she'll show you who she is, right? So I think if you do show a little bit of strength and you lay it down, you tell her what she needs, and then she has the opportunity to respond. And if she responds with, wow, like I hear you and I want, then you'll know she's really a great friend. And if she doesn't respond that way, then you know she's not that person. And then you can move on and not feel bad or not like meander about it. Just like move on.
I think this is
or
more
stop
than,
asking her for advice.
I think it's more than salvageable. I think, love and strength. Think of love first. You're going to lead with love. Call her up. I love you. You're great. You're amazing. This is what I love about you. You're great. Also, by the way, you've been pissing me off, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then end with
it's
love.
A lot of male
too.
energy.
Yeah.
That's a very man way of handling it, and I agree with it. I think that sometimes that is a good, like, just get in there, get direct, stand up for yourself. Yeah,
I don't like putting gender labels on it. I think we can all.
It is a little though. I mean, we are who we are. Yeah. I mean, it's not a bad thing. I think that it's more direct.
I agree with you. I just think we live in a time where we. I don't want to.
I'm not man shaming you.
That's okay.
I'm actually man boosting you.
Thank you.
That's something I like about the men's.
No, I just want everyone to feel like they can be direct when the time calls for it.
Yeah, I think you're right.
You have the right to not tiptoe.
Don't scare away from
You've known this person forever. It's just like such a waste of time to like tiptoe around being direct with your closest friends.
Can you do that, Jen?
I think that I am like normally a direct person, but I think that since I've known her for so long and since her opinion does matter to me, that's why I'm so nervous, because I don't want to lose her.
But you could say that to her too. That sounds great.
Well, yeah, but say
that to her.
But to Gina's point, if the only reason you're friends is because you are placating her and only telling things that she can handle, that's not a real friendship. That's not adding value in your life.
It could be a friendship, but then you have to put that friendship in the right category, right?
Yeah,
which
like
is
this is someone
when I go
hang
home,
out with
I
and
get
have,
to say, this is my middle school friend. I've known her forever, but don't go to her for advice and don't tell her your deepest, darkest shit. And because it's not in your best interest and it doesn't serve you well. But if you can directly try to reroute it and she does change and work with you, then and you should give her that opportunity. She deserves that opportunity to rise to the occasion.
Give her a shot.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, was this helpful?
That was helpful. I'm
You're so
still nervous, but
pretty.
I can do it.
All right. Well, we
She's
want
so
an update.
cute.
We're demanding an update. So
Yeah,
I
I want an update.
after you FaceTime, I want to know how this conversation went. And so
Okay.
please do us a favor and let us know.
Okay.
We will
I will,
we'll
for
be
sure.
following up. All right. Best of luck.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Gina, this was so much fun.
I had a blast.
I could talk for hours, but I know you have to go.
I could too, yeah. But I should get back
Please
to
let my audience know where they can find you, all the great things you're doing. Plug away.
Yes. All my social platforms are at Gina Kirschenheiter, which is incredibly easy to spell. I know. Actually, I have to say, Nick, because I've heard you kind of like saying that I'm going to come on the last couple of days. You say my last name so well and so effortlessly.
Well, it's not without mistakes.
It was great though.
We edit the show.
Whatever practice you did, you really nailed it there
use
when
the
it
internet.
mattered.
Can I
Yes.
ask you one more question?
Yeah.
I know you're from Long Island.
Yeah.
Do you have like Midwest relatives? Because you seem to have a bit of a Midwest twang.
Like a twang.
in your voice.
And
There's a bit of a don't you know in there. I'm like, does this person have cousins from Minnesota? Like,
I know what you're saying, and I don't know where it comes from, but I've always been like that. Like, even my
I'm
friends
from the
would make
Midwest,
fun
so
of
like we
me.
love, but like I'm just like, where is she
That's
from?
why you're so nice. You're like a good Midwest boy. No, I know. I'm straight up from Long Island. I'm very Long Island. I don't know what that is. Every once in a while, I know I say dog. I don't know why, but then like 9 times out of 10, I'll be like dog, dog, dog. But then sometimes I'll be like dog. I don't know. I don't know. They have to give me subtitles on the show a lot.
No, I mean, I totally
it is what
understand
it
you, but I'm
is.
just like,
I don't know. It's just the way I talk. Maybe
Like,
it's like
she's from
being in
Minnesota.
California now for so long. It's like a little bit
okay,
confused. I'm confused.
all right, that's fine.
This is
No,
what it
I mean,
is.
like no one can understand me.
I get
It's
the
fine.
words out, you know?
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
I had a great time.
Great.
This was super fun. I
Also,
loved
Gina,
it.
where can people find your podcast?
Yeah, well, anywhere
Anyway,
where you get your podcast.
remind them
it's
the name?
Orange Country.
Orange
we release
Country.
new episodes every Wednesday. Would love you to swing through and come hang out with me and Shane McAnally as my co-host.
Amazing.
And yeah, it's a good time.
Sounds like a blast. Can't wait. All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Don't forget to send in those questions at AskNick@theviallfiles.com for all things Ask Nick. Don't forget, we have another episode of Better Late Than Never live tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's going to be a blast. Don't miss it. Check it out. All right. Bye. Hey guys, if you loved what you listened to, make sure you hit that subscribe button below. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.